Santos.
And I'm Jeff Nyquist.
And this is Update Brazil. Welcome. Bem, eu gostaria de dizer para vocês que o Update Brasil ele é um programa todo em inglês, né? Porque eu acabo falando com o Jeffrey Nyquist e o Jeffrey Nyquist é americano. Nós estamos criando uma equipe de tradutores, de pessoas que possam traduzir todo o conteúdo. E aí, com o tempo, a gente vai colocando a legenda bem no lugar onde está escrito aqui, né? Assista aos nossos boletins de segunda, sábado, etc. Então, peço a paciência daqueles que não conseguem compreender inglês. Nós iremos reduzir o programa de 1 hora para apenas 30 minutos para facilitar o trabalho dos tradutores. Então, em vez de 1 hora de programa, apenas 30 minutos. Então, aqueles que chegarem atrasados, aí começar a perguntar por que inglês, etc., eu peço que vocês que estão no chat me ajudem, porque eu não poderia ficar lendo e respondendo todo mundo no chat para explicar o que é o Update Brasil, por que esse programa é em inglês. E é de grande importância porque o Jeffrey Nyquist, ele, na minha opinião, e também na opinião do professor Olavo, é uma das maiores mentes americanas, ou seja, o melhor estrategista e o maior conhecedor do comunismo nos Estados Unidos. Então, eu não posso perder essa oportunidade de falar com o Jeffrey e ficar fazendo tradução simultânea, porque atrapalha até o raciocínio dele e o meu. Então, conto com a colaboração de todos vocês aqui no chat, sobretudo dos moderadores aí, para avisar o pessoal que está chegando atrasado. So, I was just advising people that our show is in English, but we will translate it later, Jeff. How's it going?
It's going good. Alan, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well, although I am a little bit touched by the situation of Evan's parents. You know, he just died today, and it's pretty sad. But we are not going to talk about this topic today. I really would like to discuss with you the deal between North Korea and South Korea, because people are very, very excited about this moment. So finally we got peace, and Trump helped to do for this happen, and this is pretty good. We need to celebrate and so forth. What is your thought about it?
Well, I wrote a little piece. I'm going to try to read it in a way of talking about it. At first, you cannot talk to the communist because his goal is to destroy you. But eventually, you talk to him and find yourself shaking his hand. He's a human being, after all. He's charming. Why were you ever afraid? This is the process. You then forget that he's a communist, and you forget what communism signifies, so you decide to make deals with him. You even say, he's not really a communist, and he nods his head. Nearly everyone is happy because of the deals you make and the resulting promises of peace. You're praised by everyone. It feels so good. Then you discover the communists are cheating you in various ways. Every agreement you signed was broken before the ink could dry. But you can say nothing because you will look like an idiot for trusting in criminals and murderers. Everyone who praised these deals and supported you must also remain silent, for nobody wants to appear foolish. The years pass by and your country grows weaker in relation to the communist power. You are sufficiently self-deceived that you fail to realize enemy agents are inside your own government. You also fail to notice that they are at work inside allied governments. These agents promote each other and destroy the careers of honest public servants. Anyone who is corrupt or weak falls in line with them. Of course, all this happened because you shook the murderer's hand. You sat down with the criminal and compromised yourself. You committed a wicked act and called it good, and posterity will curse you. Those are my thoughts about it.
Yeah, you said something interesting, because imagine if we discuss with communists, we are believing he will he's saying the truth. He will talk the truth. He will belong to the deals. And it's this is something that we know that will not happen.
Yes, history is very clear. If you're not a communist, if you're talking to a communist, you're making a mistake, because they're not going to be honest with you. They're going to manipulate you. It's like there are people in life who are toxic, right? And we have these experiences in life that there are people that we just stay away from. You don't, if you live across the street from a criminal, you don't go into business with him, right? And especially the worst criminals in the world are these communist gangsters who run these totalitarian states. And of course, Kim Jong-un is one of these criminals. He's from a long lineage. His father and grandfather were these criminals. This is a family business in North Korea for them. And for President Moon of South Korea, a republic, a lawful state, to go and meet with this criminal is a wicked act. I'm just saying it. And people need to see it as a wicked act. They need to say it is a wicked act. And they have to stop praising such meetings. Whether it's Nixon going to China meeting with Mao, or Moon going to meet Kim, or our president going to meet President Putin. A wicked act. You don't meet with these people, because meeting with them says they are respectable, says they are worth listening to, says that they are honest. Because who speaks to someone who knows that they're going to lie to them? That's foolishness. You don't talk to liars. You don't talk to someone who's going to lie to you. You just don't have any dealings with them, right? Because you're just going to be lied to. Every word out of their mouth disrespects you, calls you a fool for thinking that you will believe it. Their speech, just the form of the communist speech, is a form of disrespect, because they are taking away your humanity by treating you as an idiot, by saying something. They are talking down to you. They are saying, you idiot, whatever I say you will believe. And I will say the most outrageous lies, and you will believe it. That is dehumanizing to you. Why would you engage in a discussion with someone who is going to dehumanize you? You don't negotiate with communists. You have nothing to do with them, or you fight them. There's no talking to them. This is something we haven't learned after 100 years. It's shameful.
I just remember while you were talking about Nixon, I just remember Ronald Reagan meeting with Chinese government back the 80s, and what we have right now, I mean, China took over of Wall Street and took over of everything in America.
Yes. Yes, it's both what Nixon and Kissinger did in China, what Carter and Reagan and the other presidents continued, the Bushes in China. It was shameful. It was a wicked act. It was a betrayal, and it cannot be described in any other terms. Either they were stupid to do it, and then dishonest for not admitting their stupidity when they realized what the problems were, or they were just betraying their country. There's no other way to look at it. And this hypnosis, this lying to ourselves, this self-deceiving attitude that we think that we're doing something good, we're promoting peace, we're promoting commerce between nations. No, we're not. We're promoting the destruction of our own economy. That sector after sector falls to China, that they get a monopoly on certain waterways and certain raw materials. And next thing you know, the United States Navy can't hold the seas anymore against the Russian and Chinese navies. You know, this is the issue that we're confronting now. How are we going to hold the oceans against their rising naval power?
And these peace deals in all these years just helped the communists, like the nuclear deals, these deals about environmentalist deals that happened, that Obama signed on, and Macron was talking about it at the Congress. And all this deal is just to help them, never to help us.
Yeah. there's whether it's the Canadian government under Trudeau or the U.S. government under Obama or other presidents as well. I mean, look, when you make certain deals and when you collaborate with domestic groups like environmental groups, which are basically engaged in sabotage, economic sabotage, under the color of concern for the environment, and that they are doing it essentially on behalf of a foreign power that's trying to destroy you, they should be arrested for treason. They should be investigated for subversion and economic sabotage. I mean, economic sabotage, it should be a crime. If it's not, they should pass laws against it. I mean, trying to destroy businesses through political activity by using the government, by capturing the government and using the government as a weapon and lying to millions of people about whether it's global warming, which is, shut down the pipelines and stop the oil industry, because after all, Russia's a big oil producing country. It benefits when our oil industry goes down. When we don't produce gas and oil, the Russians get rich. The price of oil goes up and Russia can continue to finance its arms construction. Now, since this has begun in Canada, the price of a barrel of oil has been rising. And of course, who is benefiting? Russia. Russia's whole defense buildup was put at risk by our oil production. And now they're using these political methods domestically within Canada and the US to put it right, to get their position back. I mean, do people realize what side they're on?
They don't.
No, they don't.
There is a comment here I would like to read. Dugata just wrote, the worst thing is to see Donald Trump thanks the president of China, kind of stupid, he said. Because Trump was thanking the China's president.
Yeah. Well, in the first instance, anything like that I would say it's ignorant, but then it's immoral because you have a moral duty to know these things. Ignorance should be no excuse. You're the president of the United States. When you have responsibility, you must know. You can't say I didn't know. That's not an acceptable excuse. People can make mistakes, but that's one mistake you shouldn't make. Know who your enemies and know who your friends are. That is the first rule of politics. If you cannot command that first rule, if you do not know this, you should get out. You should get out of politics because you're only doing harm.
Just to give an idea to our audience, it's something like Brazil is making agreement with Maduro. Who will believe in Maduro? But Kim Jong-un is worse than Maduro. And how can we believe that Maduro will keep his words? Oh, now we will help Venezuela because Brazil is making an agreement. Yeah, shaking hands. That's it.
Maduro is a creature of communist Cuba and China and Russia. Maduro will follow the pattern of other communist leaders, whether it's Kim Jong-un or Stalin. They will break their agreements. They will break their word. They will cheat you. And you will find yourself in a bad position and you'll say, oh, why did this happen? It happened because you, like I said in my statement, you sat down with murderers. You did a wicked deed and you called it good. You can't do that. That makes you a bad leader. That's bad strategy. That's bad statesmanship. It's not even statesmanship. And we have to, as people, we have to come to grips with this. As citizens of republics, both in Brazil and the USA, we have to accept this responsibility. We have to see this reality.
Let us make some dialectical exercise here. So let us think. Okay, you guys are against these deals. You guys are against countries that defend freedom, make an agreement with dictators. So let us say, are we defending a war? Because this is a good question. Are we defending a war, Jeff? Because people can see us right now talking about it, and they can think, oh, look at this. These two both-wing guys, one from Brazil, another from the United States, are defending a war between North and South Korea. Are we defending it?
No, well, in Korea, a state of war has existed since 1950, when the communist North invaded. So they have an armistice there. No, we don't want war. The communists start the wars. We say defend if they attack, but it would be stupid to launch an attack on them because they have nuclear weapons. We would be empowering them. We would be justifying their claim that we're we're aggressive imperialist, power out to destroy them and destroy their people. We don't wish the North Korean, Chinese, Russian, Iranian people or Cuban people ill. We want them to be free, but we don't have a way to free them, unless they overthrow their governments or the communism finally collapses for real. We have no way to do this because we don't have the strength, the military strength to conquer these countries. We don't have the political will. We have problems inside our own country. We have communists at work in our own governments. We need to straighten that out. We need to defend. That's what it is. It's all about defending freedom. We don't advocate nuclear war, and it's ridiculous.
You said something very interesting because Olavo de Carvalho, he wrote back to 90s when Bush was invading Iraq. He said Bush should fight against the enemies within, inside the U.S., not outside of the U.S.
Yes.
And it's something like, imagine, now we will target my Brazilian audience. Imagine if you forget to talk about the Supreme Court, you forget to talk about the Workers' Party, you forget to talk about Lula da Silva and Dilma, and you will just fight against Maduro.
Yeah. No, you see, thing is...
That's the point.
Yeah, if you don't have your own house in order, and this is a point Diana West would make. Look, Diana West's book, American Betrayal, is all about how communists got inside the American government and they manipulated U.S. policy during World War II so that World War II ended up turning out to the advantage of the Soviet Union and the spread of communism to the disadvantage of the United States and freedom. So you go into a war, obviously against bad people, but you help other bad people even more than you did damage to the bad people you were fighting. So you created a bigger monster than you started out. That's because you have not put your own house in order. You have not found the enemy within. The enemy within comes first. You can't fight a war abroad if your enemy is inside of your camp, leaking all your military plans, manipulating your policy to cause you to lose the war. That's the way to lose a war. You don't want to lose a war, you want to win a war. And to win a war, you have to have a clean government without the enemy inside of it, without the enemy manipulating it. You have to know who your friends are and know who your enemies, and that includes your domestic enemy. That includes the enemy within. That is, our friend Trevor Loudon wrote a book called The Enemy Within. This is the big problem for America and Brazil. We both have this problem. It's very serious.
And people really they do not take this serious. I see lots of people saying, no, that's pretty good. Look at this, it's so beautiful. They're shaking hands. Yeah, they're not going to have a nuclear war anymore. Nice. Yeah, let's celebrate. What are you saying? It's like, do you believe it? Do you know what is a communism? We have a book translated right now in Portuguese. This is the first time this book is translated into Portuguese. The Communists Exposed, Skousen, Cleo Skousen. This is the first time this book is in Portuguese. Why we are promoting this book and we are fighting to sell lots of this book? Because people really need to know what is inside a communist mind. Because a communist is not a person or someone that will just fight for ideas. They will not fight for ideas. They can change ideas every day, every time. They can defend homosexuals in some country. In another country, they can just hang homosexuals. And for them, that's nice. I mean, this contradiction, it's nothing for them.
The reason for that, Alan, I should explain that Karl Marx founded communism, is that Karl Marx said there is no Marxist dogma. Lenin repeated this comment later. And the reason he said this is there is something that communists want to do. They want to destroy country, family, and religion. Okay, those are the things they want to destroy: country, God, country, family, and so they're anti-God, anti-family, God,
family, and country.
Right, anti-family, God, and country. They're against those things. In order to destroy those things, they're completely flexible. The ideological tools that they use are strategic. That is, they don't view ideology as theology, as something that's written in stone. It is what is effective to destroy God, country, and family. Whatever that is, it doesn't matter. Anything they invent, anything they use, it can change. Whatever's most effective is what they'll use. And that's what they do. That's why, people say, oh, this new left is not anything to do with the old left. No, it's exactly the same. You read Engels, you read Marx. They hated God, they hated the family, they hated the nation, they hated the country. This is just a new, more effective way of attacking those same objects.
I would like to hear you. Let me just correct someone. Just correct me here. Thank you very much. It's the naked communist, not exposed. I'm sorry.
Right. So that's the name in English, the naked communist.
The naked communist. So I really would like to hear you saying that again, because people really need to understand. Now, really, you are watching us. Take a note. Okay. Take a note of what Jeffrey is saying right now. These three pillars that communists would like to destroy. They just want to destroy these three topics: God, nation, and family. I really would like to hear you again talking about it, because sometimes people don't understand why these attacks come from nothing. The family right now, it's being attacked. The God is being attacked. The country, the nation is being attacked, and they just think, oh, it's a modern time. It's a new time. It's a new world. We are being attacked by these 3 points, or these 3 topics, and it's just something that is happening to our days. I mean, something, it's happening. They don't understand. They don't understand. This is happening because they intended to. They wanted to.
It's important to understand that communism is a religion, and it's a religion that hates God, country, family. That is its animus. That is what it is, essentially. It's a form of nihilism. The very ground of human existence that we have known for thousands of years, that all of our ancestors, generation after generation, have known, they wish to break it. They wish to break its back. It's a kind of nihilism. It's a kind of hatred. It's a kind of absolute hatred. And so when you read Marx, when you read Engels, when you read these people, what you find at the base of it is this hatred of God, of country, of family. And so the beginnings of their revolution ultimately aim at these things. And the last 150 years, since more than that, since before the Communist Manifesto, when Marx was starting to form his ideas, everything was to perfect this attack on God, family, country. And the people drawn in it share the same pathological desire to destroy, the same kind of hatred, to destroy those things. So that is the simple way to understand what it is that is coming after us, and what it means, and why we see everywhere within our own institutions attacks on the family, attacks on motherhood, fatherhood, attacks on the country. Nationalism is evil, right? The nation state. Attacks on the church, the twisting of theology, the destruction of the meaning of Christianity. These things come from communism. Communism breaking down civilization, the pillars of our civilization. That's what it is. It's a war on a high philosophical plane where forces of destruction and total negativity are attempting to break down what is the essence, the essential ideas that make civilized life possible. And they think they're going to make a new civilization based on their anti-God, anti-country, anti-family. And, you know, it's in essence, the communists get to destroy and they get to rule over people who are now helpless because everything has been taken away from them.
Just to finish this topic, I really would like to hear you about what we were talking before the show. Piñera, the president of Chile, he's not right wing, you know, but he's not communist. But he said something very interesting yesterday in a meeting with our Supreme Court. He asked them, so who is the final word if the Supreme Court fails? The Supreme Court answered, there is no final word. We are the final word. And then he asked, so we need to ask for God. He was kind of joking, and in a sarcastic way, he said, oh, so we need to count on God. And then Fachin, one of the ministers of the Supreme Court, who defends the MST. MST is the word for these militias who invade lands and all that stuff. And then Fachin said, no, the people in a large sense has the final word. And then Piñera asked them, so people can cancel your decision? And then they said, no, they cannot.
Well, that's democratic centralism coming out of his mouth. You know, that's a communist idea. Because after all, as the vanguard of the left, he is the voice of the people. So they can't really contradict him because the people don't really know. It's just their vanguard that knows. It's the communist leaders that know. The leaders of socialism. By the way, the word socialism and communism 150 years ago meant the same thing. They were interchangeable. The Soviet Union was the union of the Soviet Socialist Republics, and the ruling party was the Communist Party Soviet Union. So, yeah, I mean, this is what we have, inside our countries.
But there is a fact in your American history that the Supreme Court made a decision, and this was canceled. I would like to hear you talking about it.
Well, I referred to the Dred Scott decision. Yeah. I mean, the American Civil War basically canceled that decision that Abraham Lincoln had objected to previous. I mean, there are instances in American history where presidents have ignored Supreme Court decisions. Andrew Jackson famously ignored a Supreme Court decision. It has happened before because power is complicated. And in republics, power is divided between branches of government. And because everybody thinks that the law or the Constitution somehow works perfectly, and it doesn't. It is a messy system. Checks and balances don't always work. Sometimes they do. One branch gets away with something, another branch gets away with something. They come after each other, they check each other. This is why republics don't last forever. So the politics as the art of the possible, as a complex game, you could say procedural game, or just a violent game if it becomes civil war, can produce many outcomes, unexpected and unknown. And, you know, you're talking about God or providence. there seems to be many providential events in the history of the United States, and probably in Brazil. If you look at recent Brazilian history, you guys should already be well on the road to being like Venezuela, and something stopped that. So there is hope. God and man can change history, can make a different outcome than you would expect.
So a civil war can make a difference in a Supreme Court decision.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say how the future will go. I mean, you have in Brazil, you have the army, and the army actually provides a constitutional check. And
they are defending it.
Yeah, and look, if they see that the actors, the different constitutional actors, are violating their oath of office in Brazil, and they are not following the Constitution, they're betraying the country, that's treason. The army has the right to intervene. You have this institution, the system in Brazil, where the army has done this before. And it's not that the army is evil, it's performing its constitutional function, which is the Constitution is not a suicide pact. If constitutionally elected officials turn on the Constitution and try to use it to destroy the Constitution, which is what communists do, the army intervenes. This happened in Chile in the 1970s. You could say it happened in Spain in the 1930s. You know, so it's a possibility for countries. It could happen in the United States in the future. God forbid. But the history of republics. Yeah, the history of republics is a complex thing, and this is one of the things that happens in republics.
Yeah. So, Jeff, thank you very much for your thoughts. I'm sorry, but we cannot stand too much in this keep too much this show because we are with a few people translating it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, everybody. I hope to see you next week or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, 2 weeks from now, because next week I will be in São Paulo. Pessoal, eu estive então conversando com o Jeffrey Nyquist acerca do acordo entre a Coreia do Norte e a Coreia do Sul. São só 30 minutos de programa, porque realmente estamos montando uma equipe de tradutores, de pessoas que querem colaborar e ajudar-nos. Então, infelizmente, não tem como passar de 30 minutos, senão fica muito difícil o pessoal traduzir depois. Mas eu quero agradecer a todas as pessoas que compreenderam que eu não posso perder a oportunidade de ter o Jeffrey Nyquist ao vivo nos sábados. No próximo sábado eu não estarei aqui apresentando o Update Brasil, estarei em São Paulo. Então, daqui a 15 dias nós voltaremos com o Update Brasil. Então, conto com a compreensão de todos vocês que estão nos assistindo, que realmente não podemos perder a oportunidade de ter o Jeffrey Nyquist. Então, não vamos deixar de ter o Update Brasil, porque não temos tradutores. Aos pouquinhos a gente consegue traduzir. E se você utilizar o CC, né, do Translator aqui do próprio YouTube, ele consegue colocar para você em inglês. Você pode ler em inglês, se você já está estudando, ou também pode colocar um português, uma tradução simultânea. E aí, porque nós temos esse letreiro aqui embaixo, basta que você coloque a legenda em amarelo e o fundo preto. Ele vai tapar isso aqui e você vai poder assistir sem nenhum problema, né? Então, conto com a compreensão de todos e muito obrigado. So, I'll see you next week, folks. Thank you again, Jeff. God bless you.
Thank you, Ellen.
Bye-bye.
Olá, meu nome é Fernanda Salles e eu estou aqui para falar sobre o projeto do canal Terça Livre. Projeto que tem como objetivo compartilhar uma visão intelectual e cultural que grande parte das escolas brasileiras não é capaz. Um projeto que tem como objetivo ser acessível a todos. Eu estou falando do Terça Livre Cursos, que disponibiliza aulas de diversas matérias, como inglês, espanhol, história do Brasil, moral e cívica, música, entre outras. E sabe qual é o melhor? Todo esse conteúdo exclusivo será disponibilizado para você por apenas R$ 9,90 por mês. Não perca mais tempo e assine agora mesmo. Vem estudar com a gente!